Hey everybody, Robert with RCRchery. This week's video, I'm going to start it out by waving the neon green flag. Do not burn me alive for this video. And also, don't think this is going to be a bashing video because it's not. And if you were hoping that I was going to come on here and bash John Dudley and the Nock on Nation, sorry to disappoint. What I am going to do is I'm going to give you a background that some people, or maybe many people, don't know and haven't taken the time to care. They've started their own misconceptions, their own lies. They spread them like wildfire. They got people on board, and it wasn't because they were true, it was because they didn't like me personally. So I'm going to tell you how I found Dudley originally, why I started what you see now as RCRchery within my blog and these videos, and just talk a little bit about Dudley and me and how it relates in the Nock on Nation. All right guys, let's start from the beginning. 14 years ago, I got back into archery and decided that I wanted to get serious with it again. I enjoyed the sport, I wanted to get a lot better. So I did what I do on everything. I started researching, and back then, information was not as easily and readily accessible as it is today. There was not a lot of videos. There was no Nock on YouTube channel like what you see today. There was no RCRchery or Bow Junkie or Eastern Archery Podcast or you name it. We had Archery Talk, and we had good old Google search or Yahoo or whatever it was back. I don't know. It was a while back. So I started researching it, and what I ended up doing is I randomly found John Dudley's articles at some point, and I had no clue who he was at all. I didn't watch hunting shows. I hadn't even seen his hunting program on TV. But I read his articles and his ideals and the way he explained things based off biomechanics and looking at a bow and yourself as a mechanical principle, and being able to explain what he did really matched my own ideals on what I'd done in previous sports and my own findings within archery. It was easy to understand, and a lot of what I read there worked. And that was a big thing for me because there was a lot of information that I was finding that was trash and didn't work for me. And his did. So I started reading more, following more, doing more, implementing, and getting better. And then because of that, I randomly found his hunting show one day on accident. I was actually scrolling through looking for something to watch and saw his name. I started watching this hunting show after that. I started watching the segments, the helping segments in it, really more so for those and enjoying them. And then I researched him a little bit more, found out who he was, and I took a more outside approach to it than what a lot of people do today. A lot of people probably look at him as professional archer, professional hunter. He has a big resume. They trust him because of all of that. And me, I'm more of a factual person. I trust based off of what I read, see, hear, and test. And either way you went about it, I liked him. So that's actually what started everything a long time ago and where I found Dudley originally. Fast forward 6 years later, and that's when RCRchery started in its earliest stages. That's when I created my blog. And the reason I started the blog originally was, one, I was not comfortable behind the camera. I didn't want to film. I actually did a filming of a video early on. It was on this channel for a while. I've since hid it because I'm very meek. I'm talking into myself. It's not very good on the video. Information's good in it. I've actually redone the information in the video and put it back on this channel a couple times. But that's where everything started, was in the blog, because I could write my information down, I could get it done. And I really wanted to have a vision with what I was doing. And the vision was to compile information into one place. And I had spent a lot of hours searching to find the information in so many different locations that I wanted to help other archers and say, you can come here and you can read the information that I have. Somebody else has a video here, and now at Standpoint, because there wasn't videos back then. And just have a one-stop shop, which is why I have my slogan, it's a one-stop shop. And that in itself was great and horrible all at once. And it was great because other people would come here and they could view the information, they could see it, and they had it all compiled into one area. It was easy to read, it was easy to view. I actually started getting requests. I want videos, I learn better off videos, I want to do this. So then I started my YouTube channel. I believe the YouTube channel started 1 or 1.5 years after the blog. But all of that compiled to what you see today, and I still stand by what I started. I compiled a lot of information in one spot, but I had a lot of backlash on it too, and I don't feel like it was warranted, but I want to go into that now and let you understand what happened. So to be perfectly honest, I'm still not 100% sure why the initial 1 to 2 people started bashing on me over this. I don't know if it's a technological barrier, if it was they were mad that I came up with the idea of what I was doing first, or they didn't like me personally maybe. They actually came from Archery Talk, believe it or not, obviously. I mean, Archery Talk's a great place. Nobody ever bashes anybody, and it's a super positive atmosphere. But that's where it all started. And the original thing that people were saying in my articles was I was stealing Dudley's information, and I don't feel like I got a fair shake on that because in reality I wasn't. I quoted it, I linked his article that I would quote from, and I also had an entire page on my blog dedicated to his articles and where to go to find them. Technological barrier that I mentioned before, maybe it's because they didn't know to click the hyperlink that's in the article. Maybe they didn't search through the blog. I don't know what it was, honestly. Maybe they just didn't like me and wanted to start a rumor, and it stuck on a small degree. But that's where it started. And then when I did my YouTube videos, I want to preface this by saying the Nock on YouTube channel, when I started my YouTube channel, is not what it was today. My YouTube channel, when I first started at Nock on Archery, was basically the segments from his hunting show redone on his YouTube channel, where you could go back and view past segments that they were allowing, the TV channel was allowing him to, put out, disseminate, and be able to put the information out. So the basis of us sitting here and talking about tips or detailing videos wasn't out there at all. So when I did start doing these, I did it like my blog, and when I would reference Dudley, or anybody else for that matter, but when I would reference Dudley, I would put it in the link in the description, or I would put something in the video that talked about where you could find it, or I just said like, hey, this is what I learned from Dudley, this is what I'm doing. But it still led to people saying I was stealing his information. Honestly, I don't know why, because again, I linked the information, I referenced it, and I put it out there, and whether they wanted to be negative towards me about this for whatever reason or not, that's on them. But I hate the fact of how it worked out, because I don't feel like the correlation and the connection between myself and John Dudley was ever accurately portrayed, depending on which side of this you looked at. And honestly, I just didn't want to talk about it in a lot of the videos. I don't want the controversy. The videos were here designed to help you and give you the tips over archery, in which we're, what we were doing, what our sport is. So what I really hated the most about all this is I feel like it put a divide in between my channel and what is now Nock on Archery channel, and then myself and Dudley. When in reality, when I started my blog and my YouTube videos, I had a solid 1 to 2 years, somewhere in that time frame, under my belt of doing the blog and my videos before Nock on Archery, what we know today, even started. So I wish, looking back at it and the way that things went, that it would have happened a lot differently. Instead of the bashing, the fanboys, whatever it may have been, as things progressed, I wish that it would have been a little bit different. Instead of that wedge being driven in between me and Dudley and separation of our channels, I wish we could have been more of like a collaboration thing at times. There would have been so many different ways to get out information to people and show different subjects, different matters, different ways of teaching this, working together versus driving in between it. And in reality, it's really not as big a deal as what it may sound like in this video. It's not like it was a huge thing back and forth, and perfectly honest, Dudley may not know one thing or the other about this. I have no clue. But I do feel like that things could have went a lot differently, and it would have been a lot more positive of a situation. The information getting out there and going forth, whether Dudley watches anything of mine or not, I know he's watched a few things of mine. I've talked to him personally. I've had people that work with him talk to me personally about it. So I know he sees it, and I know he's liked some of the things. I know he's talked to me and corrected me on a couple things when it came down to Carter Archery, who was producing what and who was doing what, because I misquoted in a video because I had the wrong information, so I had to go back and correct that. But I mean, that happens, right? And again, if we could have set up differently in the future, you know, in the front end, I think that would have went a lot different. It would have been a lot cooler. But I don't want the division to be there, because personally I like Nock on archery. I like John Dudley. I bought his products. I support his channel. I support what he's doing. Honestly, I think he does a lot of good for our sport. And I think his vision of what he was wanting to do is the exact same as mine. He just was in a position to have a better platform to put it out there, being that he was an ex-professional archer, won world titles, you know, different things of that nature. He had his hunting show. He had a bigger platform to begin with. So he had a good jump into what he was doing to where he could get out there and see more people on it. So I think that was really awesome of what he's doing, and basically, you know, like I said, what I'm trying to do here as well. I will say this about it all. I do feel like in the long run, no matter how you looked at the situation and how you looked at my channel, a lot of positivity came from it, because I started doing weekly videos to get information out, and good, bad, or indifferent, other channels started doing the same, whether it was YouTube videos, podcasts, information on Facebook, Instagram, Archery Talk, whatever it may be. There almost became an information race where people were trying to get their information out there and be at the forefront of what they were saying so they could be the first one at the table with it. And I really think that that was a good thing for us as an industry as a whole, because you have a lot of information now within the last few years since I started all this. And it's easy to go online and find how to shoot a bow better, or I'm having this problem, I'm gonna go search it, and you can typically find it. And I think that's awesome, because you couldn't do that when I was there. There was information out. I mean, even John Dudley's articles, it only told so much. You could only put so much in the amount of space they would give you for the article. You could only put so much in writing, or you could only put so much in a video, depending on how you wanted to take your business plan out. And there were gaps, and I feel like I eliminated a lot of the gaps in my own videos and my own blogs, because I was finding personally that I was reading what I was seeing in an article, or I was watching, you know, a video later on and I was saying, well, I'm good with that information, it works, but there's some of it that's missing and it's messing me up, and it actually is causing a negative experience. And I didn't want that to happen. So I started compiling the information to loop 2 or more subjects together like I do in my videos, to help you not have those gaps, so you can actually get some positivity out of it, not struggle, not get frustrated like I had at times. And I think a lot of that is still there. When you look at podcasts, when you look at videos now, when you look at that information, it's more full and it's more out there. And I think that's really great. I also think that it's slowed down a lot. And I think there's a couple reasons for that. I mean, since I started slowing down on my YouTube channel, I've noticed a slowdown in other YouTube channels and then in podcasts as well. And partly I think it's due, in fact, is there's only so much information you can give out with it when it comes to archery, and then you start repeating yourself. And if you're trying to run it as a business and use it as a coaching platform like myself, like some of the others, or like when I sell my instructional videos where it has a full information basis on there that are, you know, the hour-long videos, you can't give out all of that, because one, it's disrespectful for the people that have paid for that information, but two, you can't give it all away and still have any of it to do as a business standpoint. So I think that's some of the reasons why it's slowed down. I don't know if it's totally due, in fact, of the information race to get the information out there. It's there. It's just everybody did what they needed to do, and it's just done. But I hope that it starts to get better. And again, I'm trying to do these videos more consistently to where I can give you some more help and you know, actually get some more out there. So I don't know, maybe it'll speed back up. Maybe we'll get something out of this again, right? At the end of the day, Dudley is one of my archery heroes. It was somebody I looked up to, and it's somebody that I owe a lot of what I can do now to, because his information was first. His first part that I read, his first part that I followed. I still follow his information, and there's times when I struggle with things that I'll go and pick a video out and watch it. Now, whether I'm listening to it or just watching it to study it because I feel like there's more behind the words, it depends. But I really hope long-term that all of this can be something positive and change and turn itself around to where it closes that divide, where people don't look at me and think he stole this, or any of that, any of the negativity with it, because I like Dudley, I like Nock on, I support it, And I realistically know that I'm not at the same level as him, but I also realistically know that some people watch my content and talk to me versus him. And I don't know if I like that or not, but it's the reality of the situation. I've had plenty of people message me and email me, comment on my videos and tell me that they can't get access to Dudley. He won't talk to them, he won't return their whatever, and they can to me and they like me over him because of that. And in the same regards, I've had people say that I'm an idiot and they like Dudley over me. And I think that boils down to our situations. He's way busier than I am. He's got way more people getting in touch with him, and he just can't do that. That's why he does the podcast, and that's why he does the videos. Go find your information there. But at the same time, if you need that one-on-one information, I'd be glad to be the one that can help with that, because that's where I'm at. And accessibility-wise, that's what I can do. So I think there's a room for both sides of that, and both, perspectives of that. And I don't think that one or the other is bad or negative over the other. I just think that that's how it is, right? But yeah, so I mean, I hope this sheds a different light on the Dudley situation, knock on, and what's going on, and my thoughts and processes with it all, and why I'm where I'm at, and why things have happened over the years. But appreciate you watching these videos. I'll get back to the normal Tuesday tip of the week archery stuff pretty soon, and get some more of these out. But I had some things I wanted to get off my chest the last couple of weeks. Felt like now was a good time to do it. Thank you again. I'll see you soon.